Hello everyone. This week, another update for Roots. Big things are coming to Roots, in due time, of course. A lot of the work that I did this week was in preparation for those things. A lot of ideas that I've been talking to you guys about recently, things like statistics, the changes to civil protection, such as the patrols, the updates to the canals, and a lot of the things, extra work that you would do as citizens. These sorts of things I think would be best compiled together instead of being separate updates that are disconnected from one another. And so, I've decided that I'm going to compile all of these updates together, work on them for a long period of time, and then release them all at once in one big update. That update also actually being the start of Roots Chapter 2. If I've got any extra time, I might even include some server events that sort of tell the story of the transition between Chapter 1 to Chapter 2, but we'll see. I've got a lot to work on. These more substantial updates, of course, would take a lot longer to put together, but overall, they would be a lot more meaningful as well. I could also take the time to change the way that I make these videos. Currently, I narrate the changes that I've made and include B-roll of the city, like you're looking at right now. In the future, what I'd like to do is make longer, more well-edited videos that actually physically show off the things that I'm introducing, all the new mechanics. That sort of schedule also works out better for my own life. When I began the weekly update schedule, I mentioned from the beginning that I had intended on changing to a longer period of time between the updates so that I would have more time to actually get things situated correctly. Less bugs, more interaction with other new systems, that sort of thing. Generally speaking, just releasing things in a more finished and polished state, which I think that people are going to appreciate. Well, that's the future of the updates, but what about this week? Well, don't worry. Even though I was planning a lot of stuff, I still managed to get in a few things that I think you guys are really going to appreciate. I'll start off with a more minor thing, but the guys that run shops are really going to like this one. In the shop boxes, now you can actually find the food items that you would typically have to buy from that combined dispenser. So, while you can't necessarily get the one you always want, you are getting them for free, and that means that it can help offset the cost of the different foods that you would make and, well, maybe give you an ingredient for something you typically wouldn't, so you try branching out and making different foods. I know everybody usually just makes pizza, so this will maybe give you an incentive to make something different, like the rice or the noodles or what have you. It'll make that cooked food a bit more common, and perhaps even a little bit cheaper. But overall, the accessibility increase, I think, is what it's going to matter to people. Something a little bit more substantial, although still slightly niche, as it's mostly only going to affect rebels. The gasoline can, the one that you used to fill up empty barrels with and turn them into explosive barrels, that item now actually is functional all on its own. If you drop that into the world, you can now damage it and rupture it, and when it ruptures, it explodes into a cloud of fire that ignites anything nearby. Obviously, that includes people, and this fire, and all fire in general, is far more dangerous. It's extremely deadly, and it can even spread in certain cases, so you have to be careful. If you see a burning building, it would be unwise to run in. It would most likely spell your end. Oh, and one last thing. In regards to containers that are filled to the brim with pure gasoline, I wouldn't recommend smoking near them. And for the final major edition this week, it's actually a bunch of different things put together, and it's a big one. This affects everybody, but it's mostly going to affect civil protection and resistance, at least on the end of it. And that is, the immersive first person has been overhauled. It is way smoother now. Not only is it smoother, but the crosshair has also been fixed. The 3D crosshair that is a part of immersive first person used to be kind of offset, but now it's perfectly in the center of your screen. And it's been integrated with Roots weapons, which means Roots weapons now shoot in the center of your screen with immersive first person. So now, when you're engaging in gunplay on Roots, it's going to feel a lot more like a traditional FPS, without sacrificing the camera system that we use. A very important update to one of the core systems that we use in the server. I'm going to continue planning out my timeline for Chapter 2. I'm unsure just how much I want to have ready before I finally release it, and so I can't really give you a good estimate as to how long it will take just yet. But once I get a good idea of how long it's going to be, I'll let you know as soon as I can.